Bangkok. What a city. I mean, it just pulses with energy, right? You've got everyone flocking there, digital nomads, students, business folks, even retirees.
Absolutely. It's got this incredible buzz.
Yeah, the food, the skyscrapers, always something new. So
Yeah.
you'd think, okay, loads of condos, finding a place for, say, a month or two should be easy.
You would think that, wouldn't you?
But that's where it gets really interesting. It's actually, well, surprisingly tricky.
That's the twist, yeah.
Yeah.
The exact challenge lots of people hit. And today, that's what we're diving into.
Okay.
Our mission here is really to cut through that confusion, maybe uncover some surprising facts, and basically help you navigate Bangkok's short-term rental market with a bit more confidence.
Sounds good.
And we're drawing heavily on insights from moveandstay.com. They've been doing this for over 25 years, helping travelers and expats find places across Asia, day, week, month stays. They really know this landscape inside out.
Right. 25 years is serious experience in this market. Okay, so let's unpack this Bangkok paradox, as you called it. You see condos everywhere, beautiful buildings. But trying to rent one short term feels like, I don't know, navigating a maze blindfolded sometime.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
So why? What's the actual blockage here?
Well, it really comes down to a few key things that all sort of interconnect. First off, landlords. They just overwhelmingly prefer longer leases.
Like a year minimum?
Yeah, 12 months plus, definitely.
Yeah.
Sometimes even longer. And it's not just preference, it's practical for them. Think about it, fewer vacancies, less hassle cleaning and prepping the place between tenants, no constant renegotiating.
Okay, yeah. Less turnover, more stable income. That makes total sense from their perspective.
Exactly. It's just less work, more predictability for their investment.
And I bet that preference flows right down to the property agents, too. They're
Yeah.
probably chasing the bigger fish, the long-term deals.
Absolutely, spot on. The agencies tend to focus where the money is, and the commissions on short-term rentals, they're much smaller.
Right.
So it's just not as appealing for them to spend a lot of time finding someone for just, say, a month. You see this reflected everywhere, online browse-type property sites, and it's nearly always minimum 6 months, usually 12.
Okay, so that immediately shrinks the pool for short-term folks. But hang on, it's not just about preferences and money, is it? There's something else, like a legal thing.
Yes, and this is a really big one that catches people out. Thailand's Hotel Act.
The Hotel Act, right.
Well.
What does that actually mean for renting a condo?
Well, basically it says that if you want to rent out a property for less than 30 days, so nightly or weekly stays, that property legally needs a specific hotel license.
Ah, okay. Not just a guideline, but actual law.
Actual law, yeah. And getting that license isn't straightforward for a standard condo unit.
Yeah.
So what happens? Many individual owners just stick firmly to a 1-month minimum lease. It keeps them clear of any legal trouble.
Wow. So if I just wanted a place for 2 weeks, a standard condo is probably out unless it's officially licensed like a hotel or service department.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
It creates a very clear divide in the market based on that 30-day mark.
Okay, so it's this combination then. Landlord preference for stability, agencies chasing bigger commissions, and this strict Hotel Act. That really changes the game compared to other cities.
It really does.
So for you, the listener, just trying to find a decent short-term spot, understanding these factors right from the start is crucial. It stops you from getting totally frustrated, right? You know what you're up against.
Exactly. Managing expectations is key. Knowing why it's tricky helps you find the ways around it.
Right. Because knowing the roadblocks might make you think, ugh, forget it. But it's not impossible, is it? There are ways through this maze.
Definitely not impossible. Just needs a bit more strategic thinking.
So what are the actual avenues? Where should people be looking?
Okay, probably the most obvious starting point for many is the big global accommodation websites. Think Airbnb.
Right. Everyone knows Airbnb.
Yeah, and lots of Bangkok landlords do use platforms like it. Often they'll list properties specifically with that 1-month minimum to, align with the rules we just talked about.
Oh.
But, and this is important, you still need to be aware of those local regulations. Read the reviews very carefully, look for hosts who are upfront about the minimum stay, and definitely ask questions before booking.
So do your homework even on the big platforms. Check the listing details, message the host.
Absolutely. Due diligence is still key there. Avoid surprises.
Okay, so Airbnb is one route, maybe with a few caveats. What if you want something a bit more structured? Less do it yourself.
Right. If you want more services and maybe peace of mind, then service apartments are a fantastic option.
How are they different exactly?
Think of them as a hybrid. You get the space and feel of an apartment like a kitchen, living area, fully furnished but with hotel-like services. Cleaning, maybe laundry, sometimes a reception or concierge.
Ah, okay. Best of both worlds, kind of.
Exactly. And crucially, they usually offer really flexible lease terms. A week, a month, several months, perfect for short-term needs without the long commitment, and legally sound for shorter stays.
I can see that being super popular, especially for business trips or people who just want things easy. What about co-living? That seems to be popping up everywhere.
Yeah, co-living is definitely growing in Bangkok too.
Hmm.
Great for digital nomads, maybe younger folks. You get your private bedroom, but share common areas like kitchens, lounges. Often they have organized events too.
So more social.
Very social, yeah. Good way to meet people if you're new in town. And like service apartments, they typically have flexible leases designed for shorter stays. Another solid option.
Okay, service departments, co-living. Sounds good. Then there are a couple of other options the source mentioned, but with a bit of a warning label, right? Riskier.
Yes, that's right. Lease takeovers and room shares.
Explain those quickly.
Sure. A lease takeover is basically where you take over the remaining term of someone else's existing long-term lease. Might be cheaper, but you inherit their contract. Room shares are simpler, just renting a room in an apartment with others.
Okay. Cheaper sounds good, but what's the catch?
The catch is risk. Both financial and, frankly, security risks can be higher. These are often less formal arrangements. You really need to be careful. Verify everything, scrutinize any agreement you sign. There's often less protection if things go wrong.
Got it. So extra caution needed there. Maybe get someone knowledgeable to look over things first.
Highly recommended, yes.
Okay, so it seems finding that short-term place might take a bit more digging than in, say, London or New York. But the options are there if you know where to look and what to watch out for. Preparation is key.
Preparation and awareness. Absolutely essential in this market.
Now, it's easy to get tangled up deciding between short-term and long-term, especially with Bangkok's quirks. They both have upsides and downsides. So let's just quickly break down those core differences, help you figure out what fits your situation.
All right, this is a really fundamental choice. The most obvious difference, of course, is the lease length. Short term is all about flexibility weeks, maybe a few months max.
Back up and go when you want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Long term means commitment, usually 6 months minimum, often a year, sometimes more. So flexibility versus sticking power, that's the first big split.
And flexibility usually costs more, right? That seems to be a universal rule.
It generally does, yeah. Short-term rentals almost always have a higher monthly rate. You're paying a premium for that convenience, for it being fully set up, and for the ability to leave easily.
Okay.
Long-term rentals, cheaper per month, usually significantly so, but you're locked in for that longer period, so it's a clear cost trade-off.
Higher monthly costs for freedom, lower costs for commitment.
Got it. What about things like how often people are moving in and out? Does that impact anything for the renter?
Well, it impacts the landlord more directly. Short term means constant tenant turnover, more cleaning, more check-ins, more finding new people. It's just more work for them.
Long-term offers them stability. Fewer vacancies, less management hassle day to day. For you as a renter, maybe it means slightly more interaction with management in a short-term place. And the other big one is furnishings.
Ah, yes. What comes with the place?
Short-term places, almost always fully furnished, like move-in ready, often down to the spoons and towels. Super convenient.
Like a hotel, basically.
Pretty much. Long-term, though, it varies a lot. You might find furnished, unfurnished, or partly furnished places that gives you the chance to bring your own stuff, really make it your home if you're staying longer.
Okay, so it really does boil down to your personal situation, doesn't it? How long you're staying, what your budget looks like, how much effort you want to put into setting up. No single right answer.
Precisely. It's about matching the rental type to your specific needs and plans for your time in Bangkok.
Okay, so given all these layers, the market, the law, the different options, finding a short-term rental can feel a bit precarious. Like you need to be careful not to step on a mine.
Yeah, minefield isn't entirely wrong sometimes. Caution is definitely advised.
So what are the absolute must-do tips? How can you protect yourself and make sure you don't get caught out? Like, what's the essential checklist?
Right, let's make this practical. Tip number 1, and it's crucial, verify credentials. Always.
Of who? The agent, the owner.
Both. If you're using an agent, ask for their business card, maybe their ID number, check their agency website, look for reviews online. Don't just take their word for it.
Okay.
If you're dealing directly with a landlord, ask politely to see their ID and, importantly, proof they actually own the property, like a copy of the title deed, the Shinode, it's called in Thailand.
Feels a bit awkward asking for that maybe, but you're saying it's necessary.
It might feel awkward, but it's your best protection against scams where someone pretends to be the owner. Reputable landlords usually understand.
Mm-hmm.
You can even sometimes cross-reference info on Thai property portals. Verification first.
Okay, verify identity and ownership. Solid advice. What about the money side? Deposits, advance rent.
Yes, second point. Understand the money. Typically, you'll pay a security deposit, usually 1 or 2 months' rent, plus the first month's rent in advance.
Standard practice.
Pretty standard. But make sure you understand the terms for getting that security deposit back. When will it be returned? What deductions are possible? Get all of this in writing before you pay anything.
Document everything.
Everything. And be suspicious if someone asks for a ridiculously large deposit, like 3 or 4 months worth. That could be a red flag. Also worth remembering, platforms like Airbnb handle deposits differently, often more like a hold on your card, which adds a different kind of safety net.
Right. Different systems.
Yeah.
Okay, verified the person, understood the deposit. What about the actual rental contract? The agreement.
Ah, the fine print. Point
Oh.
3. Review that rental agreement meticulously.
Don't just skim it.
Absolutely not. Read every clause, understand the exact lease dates, the rent amount when it's due, any building rules. Condos often have specific ones about noise, pets, common areas. Look closely at clauses on early termination, repairs, maintenance.
What if it's confusing? Or even in Thai?
If anything is unclear, ask questions until you understand it. And honestly, if possible, get a Thai speaker you trust, a friend, or even pay for a quick legal review to look it over. Especially with condo rules, things can get lost in translation. Never sign something you don't fully understand.
That's a big one. Language barriers can be tough. Okay, anything else practical? Like when you're actually moving in?
Yes. Crucial bonus tip. Before you unpack a single box, take photos and videos. Lots of them.
Of the whole place.
The whole place. Document the condition it's in when you arrive. Note any existing damage, scratches on the floor, marks on the wall, anything. Date stamp them if you can. This is your evidence if there's any dispute about the security deposit when you leave.
Smart. Proof of condition beforehand.
Absolutely vital.
No.
And finally, always get receipts for every single payment you make, deposit, rent, whatever. Keep copies of everything. The agreement, the receipts, the photos. Digital, and maybe even physical copies.
Okay, so that checklist again. Verify ID and ownership. Understand the deposit terms. Read the contract carefully. Maybe get help. Document the condition with photos, video. Get receipts for everything.
That's your core safety net right there. Do those things, and you dramatically reduce your risk.
Simple steps, but sounds like they make a huge difference in navigating this potentially tricky market.
They really do. Turns the minefield into just, well, a path you need to walk carefully.
Now, we've spent a lot of time looking at this from your side, the renter side, but to really get the full picture of Bangkok's rental scene, it helps to flip the coin, right? Think about the condo owners, the investors.
That's a great point. Their decisions and strategies fundamentally shape the market you encounter as a renter.
So, from their perspective, what are the upsides and downsides of renting out a condo in Bangkok? And how do they even decide how to rent it out short-term versus long-term?
Well, from an investor's point of view, Bangkok property can look quite attractive. The plus sides. You've got potential for pretty decent rental yields, especially if the condo's in a good location.
High demand helps there.
Exactly. There's a huge pool of potential tenants. Expats, tourists keep coming, locals too. You can invest in some really nice, desirable buildings. And property is, a tangible asset.
Yeah.
Feels maybe more stable than other investments sometimes.
Okay, so good potential returns, high demand, but it can't be all easy money, surely. Especially the short-term thing we talked about. Sounds like a lot of work.
Oh, absolutely. That's the big disadvantage, especially for short-term rentals. The management effort is significant. It's practically running a small hospitality business, handling bookings, arranging cleaning constantly, communicating with guests, dealing with issues.
That's not passive income, then.
Not really, no.
Yeah.
Even long-term requires management, but short-term is very hands-on. Then there's the risk of vacancy periods, times when the unit is empty and not earning anything, particularly in the low season. That impacts cash flow.
Right.
Plus, you inevitably have to deal with tenant issues, maintenance problems, repairs, and the market itself can fluctuate, affecting rental rates you can charge. It's definitely an active investment.
That's really important context. So for an investor weighing their options, go for short-term lets or find a long-term tenant. What pushes them one way or the other?
It really comes down to their goals and, frankly, their tolerance for hassle.
Mm-hmm.
Are they aiming for potentially higher monthly income, even if it's more work and risk? That might push them towards short-term, trying to maximize yield per night or week?
A quick buck approach, maybe?
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
Or are they prioritizing steady, reliable income and less day-to-day management? That points towards finding a long-term tenant. Lower monthly rate, maybe, but more predictable.
Makes sense.
And crucially, they have to consider that regulatory environment we keep coming back to. The Hotel Act, any specific building rules, they need to understand the legal constraints on short-term rentals to make sure their strategy is actually viable and, legal. Ignoring that can lead to big problems.
So their decision directly impacts the kind of properties available to renters like us. If more investors choose long-term stability, fewer short-term options appear through those channels.
Exactly. It really shows how interconnected it all is. The choices made by landlords ripple through the entire market.
Yeah, it really highlights the complexity from both sides, doesn't it? For renters and investors, Bangkok's got amazing potential, but understanding these nuances is absolutely key to making it work smoothly. It's, like you said, a dance where everyone needs to know the steps.
It really is a fascinating market with dynamics playing out on both sides. Knowing both definitely helps paint the full picture.
So look, Bangkok, it's this amazing, vibrant city drawing people in for all sorts of reasons. And yeah, finding that temporary home base, especially short term, can feel a bit like an adventure in itself with these unique rules.
It definitely can be.
But hopefully, this deep dive, drawing on that great info from moveandstay.com, has shed some light, given you some solid takeaways, maybe even a few surprises. The point is, you're now better equipped. You can make smarter choices, navigate things more smoothly.
Knowledge is power here.
Absolutely. So go on, explore Bangkok's rental scene, find that great spot.
And maybe just a final thought to leave you with, considering everything we've discussed. The clear legal lines around 30 days, the landlord preferences, the agency focus where is the future of short-term stays in cities like Bangkok heading? Will it become dominated by professional outfits like service departments and cool living spaces? Or will individual owners find new, maybe tech-enabled ways to work within or around the rules for those shorter stays? Something to ponder.